If you are an African in the diaspora, this message is for you. You've thought about investing back home, maybe not seriously, but the idea keeps returning. Every headline tells you Africa is risky. Very few explain where opportunity is quietly forming. This video is not about fear, it is about preparation. Welcome to everyone joining us who looks at the global economy and sees that the old maps are changing. Here is the mistake most of you are making right now. When you hear the word manufacturing, you imagine giant smokestacks, thousands of workers, and competing directly with China. You imagine a scale that feels impossible to manage from abroad. Because you imagine the wrong model, you miss the opportunity that is actually happening on the ground. You are looking for the loud explosion. You are missing the quiet shift. Let's be honest about what you currently believe. You likely believe that manufacturing in Africa is a nightmare of power outages, broken logistics, and impossible bureaucracy. You believe it is safer to import goods, sell them, and keep your margins liquid. That was true 10 years ago. In many sectors, it is still partially true. But here's what is actually happening. Global supply chains are fracturing. The cost of shipping finished goods is erratic. Nations are becoming defensive, raising tariffs to protect their currency. This creates a vacuum. And in business, a vacuum is the most profitable place to be. In this video, you are going to learn why the China to Africa import model is dying a slow death. You will learn to identify the boring gap, the specific sector where manufacturing is profitable right now. And I will give you a framework called the assembly ladder to help you understand how to enter production without risking your life savings on a factory that never opens. We are moving from trading to making, but we must do it with our eyes open. I know why you hesitate. We have all heard the stories. Maybe you have an uncle who bought machinery in Germany, shipped it to Lagos or Nairobi or Accra, and it is still sitting in a crate 5 years later because he couldn't get the three-phase power connected. Maybe you fear the workforce, stories of theft, lack of training, or inconsistency. You feel that manufacturing requires a physical presence that you cannot give. You are in London, New York, or Dubai. You have a job. You cannot be on the factory floor every morning at 7 a.m. So you stick to real estate, or you stick to sending remittances, because those feel manageable. You feel stuck because you are viewing manufacturing as an all-or-nothing game. You think you need to be an industrialist on day one. This creates paralysis, but fear is usually just a lack of data. The environment is difficult, yes, but the people winning right now are not the ones ignoring the difficulties. They are the ones who have engineered their businesses to tolerate them. Let's look at the cold, hard reality of the market today. Strip away the optimism, look at the numbers. For 30 years, the model was simple. Africa exports raw materials, Asia processes them, Africa buys back the finished product. This model is breaking. Why? First, currency volatility. When the local currency depreciates against the dollar, importing finished goods becomes punishingly expensive. The toothpaste, the tiles, the plastic chairs, suddenly the import price is higher than the local market can bear. This forces a market correction. Local production becomes cheaper than importation, not because efficiency went up, but because the alternative became unaffordable. Second, the African Continental Free Trade Area. It is slow, it is bureaucratic, but it is moving. Tariffs between African nations are gradually lowering. This means a factory in Ghana is no longer just serving 30 million people. It is theoretically positioning itself to serve 300 million in the region. Third, the China Plus One strategy. Global companies are nervous about having all their production in one country. They are moving to Vietnam, India, and increasingly looking at places like Ethiopia, Morocco, and Rwanda for textiles and light assembly. The quiet explosion isn't high-tech microchips, it's low-tech necessities, construction materials, agro-processing, packaging. The world is changing. Africa is being forced to make things simply to survive. Let me tell you a story about a man we will call David.
This is a composite of several investors I have observed, but the trajectory is real. David lives in Houston. He works in engineering. He noticed that in his home country, everyone was building houses. Every house needed doors. Almost every quality door was imported from Turkey or China. David decided he wanted to enter the market. His first instinct, the mistake, was to build a full door manufacturing plant. He looked at the cost of drying timber, the heavy machinery, the power requirements. It was $500,000 just to start. He froze. It was too risky, so he stopped. 2 years later, he went back. He saw a competitor who was winning. But the competitor wasn't manufacturing doors from scratch. The competitor was importing skins, the outer layer of the door, and the honeycomb core. He was buying the wooden frames from local timber yards, and he was simply assembling the doors in a small warehouse on the edge of the city. He wasn't a manufacturer yet, he was an assembler. His import duties were lower because he was bringing in raw components, not finished goods. His shipping costs were lower because he could pack components tighter than finished doors. His labor cost was in local currency. David realized he had been trying to be a giant when he should have been a hybrid. David adopted this model. He started with assembly. 2 years later, he bought a machine to process the frames himself. 2 years after that, he started pressing his own skins. He didn't jump, he climbed. This brings us to the framework you need to use. I call this the reverse manufacturing ladder. Most people try to start at the top. Do not do that. Step 1. The bulk breaker. Can you import a product in bulk and package it locally? This is the simplest form of manufacturing, buying oil, rice, or cleaning fluids in drums and putting them into branded bottles. You are adding value through packaging and distribution. Step 2. The assembler. This is David's story. Import the complex parts, source the heavy, simple parts locally, assemble them in-country. This reduces your exposure to logistics costs and import taxes. Step 3. The fabricator. Once you have the market, you start making the components yourself. You buy the machine that makes the plastic bottle instead of buying the bottle. Step 4. The primary producer. This is the final stage. You control the raw material. If you are in the diaspora, you should almost never start at step 4. Start at step 1 or 2. Prove the market exists before you build the factory. 7. Midway engagement. I want you to pause and think about the last time you visited home. Walk through a supermarket in your mind. Pick up a bottle of ketchup, a packet of chips, a bar of soap, turn it over. Where was it made? If it was imported, that is a gap. If it was made locally, who made it? A multinational or a local brand? I want you to leave a comment below. What is one item you see imported constantly that you know could be made locally? Let's build a list of observations in the comments. So, how do you execute this? What not to do? Do not fall in love with sexy manufacturing. Do not try to manufacture cars, phones, or high-end electronics yet. The supply chains are too complex. Do not buy machinery that can only be serviced by a technician in Italy who charges $10,000 to fly down. Do not build a factory building before you have sold a single product. Rent a shed. What to do? Look for high-volume, low-value goods where shipping kills the profit. Toilet paper, bricks, plastic pipes, cardboard boxes. These things are expensive to ship because they are mostly air or mostly weight. That gives the local manufacturer a natural shield against imports. Focus on energy independence. If your machine needs 24-hour grid power, you will fail. Your business model must account for the cost of diesel or solar hybrid systems. Calculate your margins assuming you are running on a generator. If the numbers still work, then you have a business. Here is the insight I promised you at the start, the one that changes how you see risk. Most people think the opportunity in Africa is export manufacturing, making cheap clothes to sell to America. That is the China model. But the real wealth for the diaspora investor right now is import substitution manufacturing, making things in Africa to sell to Africa. Why is this a mindset shift? Because when you export, you are competing with Vietnam, Bangladesh, and Mexico on price. It is a race to the bottom. When you do import substitution, you are competing with an imported product that has to pay shipping, insurance, duties, and port delays. You have a moat. The inefficiency of the port is actually protecting you, provided you can source your raw materials locally or efficiently. Stop trying to be the factory for the world. Be the factory for the neighborhood. Manufacturing is not easy. It is harder than buying stocks. It is harder than buying land and leaving it. But land does not employ people. Stocks do not build a middle class. Making things builds nations. If you are tired of complaining about the economy back home, manufacturing is the only real way to change it. It requires patience. It requires starting small, but the foundation is being laid right now. Will you be a consumer of the future Africa or a producer of it? If you want to understand more about the specific sectors opening up, subscribe to the channel. We are going to go deeper in the numbers in the next few weeks. Build slowly. Think long-term.